open a cabin door. I know that shouldn't be possible, but the door opened and the machine went through. There was a conspiracy to hurt me, but I've never even rudely interrupting. The controller darted closer. You should know, it said, that the child is watching you. Crossmanel went cold. What child? The one who lives here. Another boy? He likes to watch people. The controller was oblivious to Crossmanel's cataplexy. He likes your suit, but he seldom comes out. However, from behind the scale in the wall, unclean, wearing nothing but a shawl made of 2 insulating sheets, bound by rusted cable ties, a young child did indeed emerge. Ah, said the controller, backing off. This was not the other boy, not the one who might have reflected Crossmanel, but a much younger child, perhaps in the year of cognitive beliefs, or of independent thinking, with large green eyes and long lank hair. If the controller had not brought up gender, Crossmanel would have thought the child a girl. He had not seen green eyes before, and they were disconcerting. The boy stared for a long while, but then a quick smile revealed rotten teeth, just like those of the men who'd saved Crossmanel from floating in the pylon. Holding out tiny arms, marked with a clear, intricate underlay, the boy came forward. Hello, said Crossmanel, nervous. I don't really like contact. I don't hug. Yet the child continued, until he was embracing Crossmanel's legs and holding on tight. When Crossmanel finally touched the child in return, because he did not know what else to do, though he wanted to push the kid away, the crude plastic clothes rustled, and he felt beneath them prominent bones, larger than the rats, but which he could break just as easily nonetheless if he tried. There was nothing to this boy. Over the kid's large head, which was pressed against his thigh, he mouthed to the controller, "Who is this?" He doesn't talk. He can't talk. No capacity for it. Not like the others. He doesn't have a formed larynx. He doesn't hear so good either. Crossmanel patted the boy on the head. The hair was matted and dry. Why are they afraid? Why is who afraid? The men who live in the pylon, or whatever they call it. The 3 men out there, and the sustenance dispensers. They're afraid. Truthfully, Crossmanel was fed up with the vagaries and duplicities of devices, machines, and people alike. He was prepared for denial and lies. No one lives in the pylon. What men? What are you saying? But the controller merely said, they feed this boy, they bring him treats, he puts ideas into them. How can that be if he can't talk? The child had stopped hugging Crossmanel and seemed bored now. Tottering, looking down, he hopped a few steps, stopped, and extended his arms like a crow's wings, trying to balance on one foot. Glancing at Crossmanel, the boy bent to retrieve a tiny starter cap from the detritus piled near the wall. He put the cap in his mouth, spit it out again, resumed his hopping around, hands extended. Did you raise him? I'm still raising him. He's my ward. Why didn't you teach him to speak? He's a reject, year of miracles, but he doesn't need the sustenance anyhow. Considering cripples, rejects, and controllers that seemed as smart as elementals and maybe as deceitful, Crossmanel walked over to the hidden entranceway from which the child had entered the hall. A thick flake of composite exposed a narrow arched hallway, which extended towards a larger area and continued well of it, curving around out of sight. The air was warm and smelled like recycling. He could see the console from here, a large room, full console with holes, a periscope, and active thumb plates. The icon of the hands burning above. Gone lightheaded, trying not to react, Crossmanel said, when I was little, 2 elementals took me to the garden for a walk. My father was tethered so he could never go anywhere, not in the flesh. Yes, said the device, perplexed, a passenger connected to a bank. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm going to take this child for a walk. Pardon me? Me and him are going for a little walk. I have to come with you. No, you don't. You're going to stay here. I'll bring him back. The controller considered this. Please don't hurt him. I feel responsible. Even though he doesn't use my amenities, I've grown quite fond of the child. Crossmanel's heart pounded. He went over to the child, who was kneeling now, rolling a carbon tube between his palm and the floor over and over, making an annoying rumbling sound. Crossmanel touched the boy's naked shoulder, which stopped the repetitive movements, and the boy turned his face. Astonishing to look into green eyes from so close. How could this be a boy's face? His mouth had gone dry. He let a few drops from the siphon moisten his tongue. Searching the features to see if his child felt a mysterious wonder, like his sister had in the haptics, he judged by what he saw in the open candor, the expression, the trust, that this might be the case. Was Crossmanel the only person who had not experienced wonder? Had this also been, like his inlays, removed by his father? Unaltered, what might he have been? He held out an open hand. Tiny hot fingers locked into his own. Trapped material of his mitt fizzled gently. He helped the boy to his feet. He weighed more than Crossmanel had expected. When Crossmanel had been this age, his legs were bowed like the frame of a transfer tube, crippled and damaged. Clenching his jaw, he took the boy down the hidden hall. The child displayed no hint of dismay thus far, and continued to frolic. When Crossmanel looked over his shoulder, he saw the controller in the archway, backlit by ambience, peering in. There was 2 machines that worked in the pen, Crossmanel said quietly, as if praying, and a bunch of controllers, like yours where I grew up. I had a father. He could project dogs and spirits and ghosts. Crossmanel laughed briefly, awkwardly loud, because he had thought at first that he was just going to talk for the sake of it, to calm the boy. But these words actually meant something to him, like a convocation, initiating mechanisms and pulling forth emotions within his body that enabled him. He needed to tell the boy about his past before things went too far. He needed to tell the boy in order to continue. I named the machines, though my father didn't want me to. They had red eyes. Do you have any friends? Crossmanel thought about the dirty, crouching trio, their nudity, their horrible teeth, the beasts on their backs that were parasitical and leering and keeping them alive. Swinging forward, the boy kicked at nothing Crossmanel could see. He did not answer, but neither did he let go of Crossmanel's hand. He seemed so happy. Where their flesh contacted, moisture had reached uncomfortable levels. The Dacron was totally useless. Fecal matter and snot and every other repugnancy from the happy child was crawling inside his sleeve. Most of my friends were apparitions. Crossmanel looked at his long legs in the burnt uniform and gauged the steps of them both, he and the boy side by side in this composite hall. There was a tight core in his gut from, he supposed, trying to eat the rat. He peed a bit, felt the processor struggling. Apparitions drifted about the pen, dogs mostly. Some showed up in haptics. The characters in this case weren't like dogs, because my father didn't send them out. They were from the world, from the banks, where pellets and water comes from, where uniforms came from. But you don't like that stuff, do you? The boy paid him no attention. They had reached the console. Crossmanel stopped before it, and the boy looked straight ahead, wondering. With his free hand, which was shaking, Crossmanel lifted the flap, uncovering the pair of holes. He felt the hum already in his molars. Look, he said, want to see better? Want to see what's at the bottom? Bending at the waist to pick the boy up, but now the boy was frowning. It's okay, said Crossmanel. He took the child by the waist and had to tighten his grip when the lithe boy started fighting. I'm not going to hurt you. Clearly alarmed, the boy twisted away, surprisingly strong, and Crossmanel nearly lost his balance. I just want to see what happens, he shouted. Put your arms through these holes just for a second. He yanked the child closer, trying to hold on to the tiny torso, but struggling. I just want to see what happens. Turning on him suddenly, green eyes flashing, hair flinging forward, the child lunged. And Crossmanel did fall, the boy upon him attacking. You little fuck! Broken teeth found his thumb and bit hard, crunching into his flesh. Crossmanel screamed. Above him, the controller appeared in his narrowing sight, having traveled quickly to resolve the matter or save the boy. Crossmanel had already lost this fight. There was a lot of blood.